In section 8-5, we continue to learn about what we've learned in the previous section in 8-4. Except now we're going to apply our sine, cosine, and tangent to real life situations. Okay, so in this example, the angle of elevation from point A to the top of a cliff is 34 degrees. And we can see our little picture here. If point A is 1,000 feet from the base of the cliff, how high is the cliff? See, so we have point A, 34 degrees. We know that point A is 1,000 feet from the cliff. We're trying to figure out how high this cliff is, okay? Since we're dealing with angle A, we know that this is the opposite side and this is the adjacent side. Okay, so opposite, adjacent, we know that we're dealing with tangent, okay? So the tangent of 34 degrees is equal to x over 1,000. Okay, in order to figure this, we multiply times 1,000 on this side and 1,000 on this side. So we get 1,000 tangent of 34 degrees is equal to x. And when we stick this into our calculator, it gives us approximately 674.5. And I'll stick it in the calculator for you guys so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. 1,000 times the tangent of 34, and that gives us approximately 674.5. Okay. In the first one, the angle of elevation from point A to the top of a hill is 49 degrees. If point A is 400 feet from the base of the hill, how high is the hill? So here's point A. Here's our angle degrees of 49, and then we know that point A to the hill is 400 feet. We need to try to figure out how high this hill is. It's the same as the example in the top part of this section. So we can take the tangent of 49 degrees and set it equal to x over 400. Okay, we have to leave x by itself. So we're going to multiply by 400 on both sides. Okay, so those cross out. Now you have 400 times the tangent of 49 degrees is equal to x. We'll stick that into our calculator. 400 times the tangent of 49. That gives us approximately 460 feet. Okay. Number 2, find the angle of elevation of the sun where a 12.5 meter tall telephone pole casts an 18 meter long shadow. So here's our pole. It's 12.5 meters. And the shadow here from the sun is 18 meters. Okay, so we're trying to find the angle here. So we're dealing with, here's our angle. We're dealing with an opposite and an adjacent. So we're still dealing with the tangent. But in this case, we now have the tangent of x is equal to 12.5 over 18. Okay. All we simply have to do now is take the inverse, so the tangent of -1 over 12.5 over 18 should give us the degrees that we're looking for. Second, tangent 12.5 over 18 gives us approximately, we'll round up, 35 degrees. Number 3, a ski run is 1,000 yards long with the vertical drop of 208 yards. Find the angle of depression from the top of the ski run to the bottom. Now, don't panic on me just because it's looking for this measure. We've learned that if angles are cut by a transversal, whatever this side measures, this side also has to measure. So if we can find the measure of this angle in here, we will automatically know what this is, okay? So when we look at this angle, we know that we are looking at the hypotenuse and the opposite side. Well, sine, cosine, tangent, which one has opposite and which one has hypotenuse? Okay, we know that that is the sine. Okay, so if we take the sine of x, opposite would be 208, hypotenuse would be my 1,000 yards. In order to find this, we take the inverse, type it into our calculator, and that gives us approximately 12 degrees. Last one. From the top of a 120-foot high tower, an air traffic controller observes an airplane on the runway at an angle of depression of 19 degrees. How far from the base of the tower is the airplane? Okay, so again, we're looking at the depression here. Whatever this angle is, this angle must also be, so we know this is 19 degrees. We know the degrees, we know a side opposite, and then we know an adjacent side. Okay, so we now know we're dealing with either which one, sine, cosine, tangent. SOHCAHTOA, opposite over adjacent. So we know we're dealing with tangent, okay? So we're going to set this up as the tangent of 19 is equal to 120 feet over x. Okay, how do we get the x out of the bottom of that? Well, we're going to multiply both sides by x. Those cancel. Okay, so now we have x, tangent of 19 degrees is equal to 120. In order to get x by itself, we're going to divide by the tangent of 19 degrees on both sides. So that leaves us with x is equal to 120 over the tangent of 19 degrees. We'll type that into our calculator. 120 divided by the tangent of 19. And that gives us approximately 348.5 feet.